Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. You can see it's not the usual view when you start a video on my channel, but today I'm looking at the Retekess TR605 radio, and this is a multi-band radio that was sent to me because I jump at the chance of looking at any new radios because I'm a bit of a radio fan. So this one does FM, medium wave and shortwave. Now you can see that it is in somewhat of a disarray, and that's because I've already started this video and I got to this point and I kind of lost motivation because what can you say about a radio? So I thought, while it's dismantled, why don't we do a reverse assembly video and try to figure out how it goes back, because this was done very early in the morning when I was bleary-eyed and it's almost like a kit now. So just to cover the basic features of this radio, it has USB charging, which is quite neat. It uses one of these 18650 cells, which also is pretty cool, and that charges via USB. It's got a manual rotary on-off volume switch. As I said before, FM, medium wave and shortwave. And if I can show you, here, it does have a built-in torch. So it has a number of functions. Now I had a look at some of the ICs on the board while I was at it, and I could identify this one as an amplifier. That's a 5 volt. Marked as USB audio amp apparently on that part number. It's a 8002D, that's the main part number part there. But I couldn't really find anything about the rest apart from this little guy here, which is marked as a 24CO2, which would be a flash. But looking at the board, I don't see how it can be because it appears all of these 4 pins are grounded. Interestingly enough, this is the radio tuner chip here, which is marked KTO 936MF8 BA 690-211H. I couldn't find anything about that. The only thing that I can tell you, of course, is that it does allow for the different bands, and it uses a variable resistor. There's a multi-turn variable resistor in the assembly here, which feeds into this leg of the chip. And that's what does all the tuning right. And just have a look here. This switch here is the switch that does the band selection, and you can see that just goes via a number of pull-ups, pull-downs into the chip too. So it's just a standard everything on a single chip type affair. We always say assembly is the reverse of disassembly, and unfortunately I cannot remember how to do this, and I did not video myself doing it. So it's a bit of an adventure, and of course, looking at it, of course being me, I disassembled some components while I was at it, as in desoldered some components, so that makes it extra interesting. I feel I saw this thing shoved in there somewhere. Okay, it's very confusing myself. That's clearly got the gears for that thing there, but I seem to be missing an end panel. Oh, that's because the end panels are on here. So let's start by pushing this into the assembly. There are a bunch of screws, of course. I don't want to forget those. We've got the antennas here for the wires for the AM antenna. Pull those out of the way. I'm going to get that cam in there, which is for tuning. That seems good. Excellent. We don't want to mess with that too much, of course, though, because I want to leave all of the tuning components as they were. I'm going to tighten this bit up though, because this screw didn't need to be loosened. I think that's why I left that in there. That's the selector button on the front. Now this little board went in here for sure. The fun thing will be trying to determine which screw was for which part, because there are different size heads on all these screws. And of course some of them are case screws as well. This one I suspect is a small screw, so we're going to go for a small screw in there. Excellent. Now I think the next stage was to put in the assembly for the light. And the light's quite nice. You can see that's got a nice big heatsink. That's what that PCB serves as. It's a PCB on an aluminium plate, which is kind of cool. Wouldn't expect to have seen that in here. Does have a particular way of going in. You can see that now, and that would be that. Nice, and that's the light in. going to use these big screws, but if it turns out they're not right, we can always remove them. To attach, before that goes in now, I think we have to put in this, which is the tuner assembly. So that wasn't too bad at all. A couple more screws. So this PCB goes down in here. I think we'll just tack the speakers on now while we can. So let's plug in all these headers. That's the main power header from the battery. Interestingly, I'm not quite sure how the battery charger works because I couldn't discern any obvious chip that does it in there. I presume it knows when it's charged. It says it has an LED when it's charging, and the LED goes out when it's charged, so it's got something, that's for sure. Let's get that antenna wire there, another antenna wire there. Okay, I'm just gingerly pressing it all down. I've got certain things that have to line up actually, and they seem to have. That seems to want to go in there. Move some wires, make sure there's plenty of room for everything. That's okay, that's pretty cool. So let's just tack the two antenna wires for the AM. Oh! Went a bit awry, but I just brought that back just in case you don't want it to touch anything. Now before I do anything, I need to see the case where the screws are. So that's a case screw, case screw, case screw. That means we do have a fair few. In total there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Holt screws for the case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 3 spare to put in here. So I can see we need 1 here and 1 here, and that means I end up with 1 spare screw. Just remembered there's a screw all the way in here, so I'm hoping there's enough magnetism to get that started, and there is. So that's right in there, and that's the last case screw. Good, right. Back on track. Good. Let's clean this up because we do have a couple more things to solder. While I was messing with this, the battery connector came off, so I'm going to plug that in. I might have to strip these a little bit. That's one. That's two. Touch a bit of solder on them. Just attach those wires. Oh, not quite long enough, so I'm going to have to move the case around a bit. Let's just manhandle that one. That should take care of that. Ooh, and the antenna. Let's do the antenna while we're here. Plug that through the hole. That's a tricky one. It has to be sandwiched. It's a terminal that has to be sandwiched between a couple of things. I think it's going to be this machine screw. There's only one machine screw in the whole lot. So we'll push it in from the bottom. I'll just show you like that. You see, you're using the bottom of the antenna as the nut. Could do with a few extra hands. Someone's job is just to assemble these all day, every day, all day, every day. I bet they're pretty quick at it by now. Certainly a lot quicker than I am. So let's figure out how this chassis engages. It does appear to have a slight sliding mechanism. If we can get that top edge engaged, it should just push in and down. Oh, I heard something click. Ah, I think that could be it, but it feels not too happy, like there's a bit too much pressure, so we need to check that. There is a ribbon connector there. I think it needs to be pushed right out of the way. Last screw. Hopefully nothing's pinched. Battery snaps shut. The switch works there. Switch works there. The gauge seems to work. Cool. End to end. On off. Right. The moment of truth. Let's pop the battery in, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what came in the case. So it comes in quite a nice box here. It's called the Retekess TR605 FM medium wave shortwave 3-band radio by the Henan Eschau Electronic Commerce, or is it eShow? Who knows? Doesn't really matter, does it? Has a book, tells you how to operate a radio in case you're a total dingbat. Basically, battery goes in here, and the only slight difference over any other radio is that you have a USB wire that goes in there. When the light goes out, it's charged. Apparently, that's all you need to know. There is a lanyard, I say lanyard cable, a lanyard there basically, and it goes in that little hole right there. But we're not going to do that right now. So we're going to play with this. We're going to turn it on. Oh, it is working. We'll put it on FM. We can see now if I've got something tuned in, because I've got something that definitely is broadcast at 405. There you go.
I've been thinking
about
us.
So have I. We'll never see each other again after today.
So in my earlier video I did review this a little bit. Basically I came to the conclusion when I was out and about with it. I took it outside and it's a little bit fussy on the tuning, so you can see here.
Consider sharing the same pie dish with me.
You do have to be a bit sensitive with it.
5 years.
But once it locks in, it seems to be pretty much okay. Medium wave I was picking up some stuff. Shortwave though, I couldn't get anything. A medium wave in here is just picking up my lights, so that's no good. Right, well, let's not worry about that too much. Torch, though, is good. Look at that. It is absolutely blinding. So this radio, I would say it's about, if I'm not mistaken, it's just under £20 on Amazon. I would say in this day and age, £20 for an analog tune radio, it's a bit much, right? Especially as it's got a whole digital interface internally. You can see it's a digital chip. They do a version that does have a screen and digital tuning. That might be a better option. I feel this is a bit long in the tooth, and if you're going to do it, you've got to make sure that's really good. You know, I feel if I was this is aimed at somebody who's probably of older generation, maybe your grandmother or something like that. Get them for Christmas so they can just listen to the wireless. But getting them to tune it, I think, is going to be tricky. I'm just imagining I've got the shakes. I don't know. Maybe it's all right. Maybe it's all right. Maybe I'm being harsh on it. You tell me. I mean, what's your view on it down below? Do you think this is a product that you'd buy? If not, who? Or, you know, if not for yourself, who would you buy it for? Do you think in this day and age you'd be expecting something a little bit more than an analog tuner? And also, would you be expecting to really get anything on the shortwave? For me, I think I quite like it for the torch. I mean, if you just want a little generic portable radio with torch, shove in your car, take to the beach, use at night. If you're going camping, I think that's absolutely fine. You can charge it off your power bank. For that purpose, I think it's great, but I don't think I'm replacing my Sony World Band radio anytime soon. But thanks, Retekess, for sending this in, and wish you all the best with your products. As ever, thank you for watching.